All right, lesson 3.4 is teaching us how to do proofs. So we were going to do just a little bit of proofs in geometry this course. We won't do a lot of proof work, but this is kind of setting us up about how to do proofs. Now, if you've heard anything about geometry, you've probably heard that proofs are horrible and they're just like the worst thing ever. But honestly, without a proof, you can't explain anything, right? If I asked you to prove evolution, for example, you would give me like X, Y, Z is happening, and you would tell me why those things are true. So that's the same with geometry. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to do something that has nothing to do with geometry. So today, as we're filling this out, this is not going to look familiar to you at all, and that's okay. I want you just to write down what we're writing down and try to make it make sense, okay? So there are several ways to structure a proof. The first way that we're going to talk about, and it's actually the only way because we don't have a ton of time, is called a two-column proof. A two-column proof. Now, in other geometry classes and traditional high school, sometimes they talk about like paragraph proofs or flow proofs. We're only going to use the two-column proof for the sake of time, okay? So the setup for every proof is the same. You will get points in this class for just setting the proof up, okay? So we're going to explain why we are proving something to be true. So the setup is that there's a given statement and the proof statement. These are statements. So you can write that right there. These are statements. I'm going to give you some information and then I'm going to tell you what you need to prove. So those are called your statements. You're always going to draw a diagram of whatever the given is, but only the given. So whatever information I give you, that's what you're going to draw me a picture of. Now today it's going to be silly pictures, like a laundry basket and something else like that, right? Like that's silly. That's nothing to do with geometry. But we're getting in the habit of drawing pictures. Tomorrow we're going to talk about actual like geometry figures and that kind of stuff too. All right, so let's look at what this might look like. So if we move down a little bit, this is what a proof looks like. Now, you do not need that big box around the proof, okay? But this is just, I put a box around it to set it aside. Notice that we have two columns, right? This is called two columns. I'm going to write statements above the left side, reasons above the other side. Notice I have my given and prove right here that I'm writing out. Number one will always be whatever information was given. So we're going to put info that is given. All of that will always be step number one. Whatever information that they give you up top here is what you'll write on number one. That's how you'll always get started. So whatever they wrote you up top is what you're going to write in number one. Reason number one is always this word given. How do you know that that's true? Because you gave me that information. That's why it's true. Okay? Then your proof statement, notice your proof statement is over there as well. So your proof statement will always be the last statement. Now, you won't always have 5 steps. You may have 3 steps. You may have 7 steps. Okay, so there's no one way to always do it. Again, I'm not expecting you to have this memorized and get this the first time around, which is why we're going to practice it. Okay? All right, so when we do this first example, it's going to seem very bizarre, but that's okay. This is brand new to you, and so I expect it to be a little bit weird. So let's look down here and remind ourselves what definitions are. We talked about definitions are statements that are true. Postulates are true because I said so. They're rules that we say are true. Biconditional, do you guys remember that IFF thing? Oh, yeah. Do you remember, we talked about that like day one, there was that IFF and someone asked me if it was a typo. Do you guys remember that?
I remember.
IFF? We're going, what'd you say?
I forgot what it means.
Do you remember what it means?
If and only if.
Yeah.
If and only if, right? It means it's the same forwards and backwards. We kind of need to know that and remember that as they're going to give us biconditional statements. And we need to be able to use them. Okay? All right. Let's do an example together. Now, this is going to be a little bit tricky for me to do as I go back and forth. So hang with me just a minute. Here we go. All right. So it says, if the laundry hamper is full, there is no geometry. If the laundry hamper is full, there is no geometry. And let's be honest, that makes like 0 sense, right? If the laundry hamper is full, there is no geometry. Okay, so first of all, we need to figure out what information is given to you. Well, the information that is given to you is always what comes after the word if. So if we look here, it says if the laundry hamper is full. So the laundry hamper is full is what's going to be given. Not the word if, but whatever comes after the word if. So the laundry hamper is full is the given statement. Whatever comes after the word then is what we are proving. There is no geometry. This is what we are proving. So whatever comes after the given is always, whatever comes after if is always the given. Whatever comes after then is always the prove. So let's set this up. Josh, you want to turn your paper over with us and follow along? So on the given, I'm going to write down the laundry hamper is full. I'm actually going to write, and I'm writing a complete sentence which starts with a capital letter. The laundry hamper is full. What's going to go where the prove is, do you think? Okay, there is no geometry, not the word then, but whatever comes after the word then. There is no geometry. Okay, we need to draw a diagram. What do we always draw a diagram of? The given or the prove? You guys remember? Look back. The given, right? So the laundry hamper is full. Yes, I want you to try to draw a picture of what that looks like to you. So here's my laundry basket. I'm not an artist. I'm just going to draw some clothes coming out. Yeah, it is ugly.
No, I said it's over full.
Oh, yes, because it's full. That's what happens at my house. My laundry hamper gets full.
I always say I'm going to fold the laundry and then end up at the end of the week with this big pile of laundry just looking through it and then you have to wash it.
Yep, I hear you there. Okay, so again, I don't really care what it looks like. All right, we're just drawing some kind of picture. Now, let's look at those statements at the top. Okay, let's look at the statements at the top. There are some definitions and there are some postulates. It doesn't matter whether it's a definition or postulate. These are going to be where I draw all of my sentences from. Okay, so we said that the given thing is that the laundry hamper is full. So let's look back here at the laundry hamper being full. Remember, I saw someone draw that already. That is statement number 1, right? And so we need to go ahead and write the laundry hamper is full. This is getting me started on my proof. The laundry hamper is full. What is always reason number 1? The given, right? The word given. Why do I know that this is true? Because it was given to me. So we're going to write the word given. Is there anything else I can put into my proof that I know for sure?
Number 6.
Number 6, the last one. All right, Crystal's reminding us that the last one is always whatever the proof is. So down here on number 6, we can say there is no geometry. Now, we don't know the reason for the last one, but we do know what the last statement is. So without even understanding how to do a proof, I've already earned points for setting it up, for drawing a picture, for writing the first and the last statement. So you already earn points just for setting it up. So even if you don't know how to do a proof, just by setting it up, you're getting points, okay? All right, now let's go back to our list up at the top. The laundry hamper is full is what I'm starting with. So I need to find something that's talking about the laundry hamper being full. Does anyone see the laundry hamper being full?
Yep.
Number 3 on the postulates, right? And you would say that I've already talked about the laundry hamper being full, right? So what's the next thing that comes after the laundry hamper being full? What'd you say? Okay, so the laundry hamper is full. I just said that, right? So the next thing I need to say is that Miss Miriam washes the dirty clothes. So that's going to be statement number 2. Miss Miriam washes the dirty clothes. Okay, so let's go back to, oops. Right, and I've already said that, right? Okay. Nope, I've already said, we're going to break this sentence apart. Okay, I do have a comma in there. So right here I have, let me put it back in there. The laundry hamper is full. Oops, is full. Sentence number 2 is going to say, Miss Miriam washes the dirty clothes. Now, again, this is new to you, so just hang on with me. Why do we know, or why did we know that Miss Miriam washes the dirty clothes was going to be the next one? Samantha?
Because it says if the laundry hamper is full, comma, ink, and then there's.
Okay.
And you put what's after it.
All right, so what Samantha's saying is we already knew, look up here, we already knew that number 1 was true, right? I already knew that the laundry hamper was full. And so if I know that the laundry hamper is full, then I wash the dirty clothes. So that's going to be our reason number 2. So reason number 2 is going to say, if, we use the if and then over here. If the laundry hamper is full, then Miss Miriam washes the dirty clothes. And it seems like we're saying the same thing twice. But if you look over on the left side, we're only saying it one at a time, right? We're saying one thing at a time. The reason is giving me 2 things, if and then. Okay, and I'll explain the process of the proof once we keep going. So let's look at what we think we might say next. So let's look at the top. If Miss Miriam washes the dirty clothes, what do we know? Where else do you see Miss Miriam? We've already used, and I would cross off maybe postulate number 3. We've used it. So I would maybe put an X on number 3 there because we've already used postulate 3. We're not going to ever use the same thing twice. Okay, so Miss Miriam washes the dirty clothes. Where else do you see that Miss Miriam is washing the dirty clothes?
Two.
Definition number 2, right? Now, here's the problem. This Miss Miriam washing the dirty clothes is in the second half of the sentence. We really want it to be in the first half. But if you see the words if and only if, that means we can go either direction. We talked about that earlier. We can go either direction. So if Miss Miriam washes the dirty clothes, what's going to be the other part of that sentence? There is ironing to do. So that's going to be number 3. There is ironing to do. Statements. Yep. So we're going to go into our statements. There is ironing to do. And then how did we know there was ironing to do? How did we know that to be true? Good. So we'll say if Miss Miriam washes the dirty clothes. We always start with if. Oops, hang on. Yep. If Miss Miriam washes their dirty clothes. Then what's happening? Good. Then there is ironing to do.
Did you finish this one already? Okay, you told me that you didn't want to do it, so I want you to do it for me first before you begin on your class.
All right, so we know that there is ironing to do. Just keep going with me. You guys are doing great. I'm going to explain some things in a few minutes that's going to help, okay? So let's go back to our list. Do we see anything else where there is ironing to do? First of all, let's mark off definition number 2 because we already used that, right? So mark off definition number 2. So we know that there's ironing to do. Where else do we see ironing to do?
Postulate number 1.
Postulate number 1, okay? So if there's ironing to do, what's the second piece going to say? Excellent. Miss Miriam does not have time to grade papers. That's going to be statement number 4. Notice that there is no if or then on the statement side. Miss Miriam has time, does not have time. How did I know that that was the next thing to do? How did I know I did not have time to grade papers? Because there's ironing to do, right? That was the first thing that I said. So I will say, if there is ironing to do, then Miss Miriam does not have time to grade papers. Okay. I'd like us to pause for just a minute, and I want you to look up at my board, okay? Look up at my board. I want you to see something. Do you notice that whatever I start with right here, like look at number 2, whatever I start with came from the step right above it, right? And then look at how I started number 3. If Miss Miriam washes the dirty clothes, came right from above it. Do you guys see that? That's how we're starting each one. And number 4, how did I start number 4? I looked at statement number 3. Do you guys see how there's a pattern there? Okay. The other pattern that we see is this. Look up at my board, please. Whatever I finished with here, this Miss Miriam washes the dirty clothes, that's what I started with on the next one, right? I finished with there is ironing to do. I finished with there is ironing to do. I started with there is ironing to do. Do you guys see how that pattern is creating itself? Okay, that's always going to happen when we're doing these. Okay, so there's a pattern to this. So let's look at number 5. I finished with not having time to grade papers. So where else do I go if I don't have time to grade papers? Postulate number 5. Then her students are unhappy. Okay, so we've already said Miss Miriam does not have time to grade papers. But hang on just a second. Ooh, Brianna says, hey, wait, there's number 4. Miss Miriam does not have time to grade papers, that she is an excellent housewife. That's right, because I'm busy doing laundry. I'm just kidding. My husband does his own laundry. Okay. Because I couldn't fold the laundry right, we learned this the second week of marriage. He didn't like the way that I folded his laundry, so I said, fine, you can do your own. He said, okay. That's the trick, ladies. Fold the laundry wrong. I'm just kidding. Okay. So 4 or 5, which one do I want? That's the question. Okay? Okay, so we need to think, this might happen where you could have 2 of them. But let's go back to our proof. Where do we want to end up? What was the very last thing we said? There is no geometry, right? That's the last thing that we said. So let's work backwards. Look at your list. Where do you see that there is no geometry? Definition number 3, right? And what do we have to say right before that? What's this? Miss Miriam's students are unhappy. So in order for me to get that there is no geometry, I have to say that my students are unhappy. Right? You guys see that? So instead, if I'm looking at postulate 4 or 5, which one should I choose? Good, number 5. So I'm going to choose postulate number 5. What'd you say? I'm sorry. So postulate number 5 is the students are unhappy. Now think about how we have to start number 5, reason number 5. What did we end with in the one right before it?
There is no geometry.
No. Look at our reasons. Good. I don't have time to grade papers, right? And isn't that what we start with? If I don't have time to grade papers, then, excellent, Belinda, then the students are unhappy. So that's going to be my reason there. If Miss Miriam, oh, that's okay, does not have time to grade papers, then the students are unhappy. What's going to be reason number 6? Anybody want to guess, Patrick, since you're finished?
I said
Reason number 6.
reason number 6, I said, this is there is no geometry. I put if there's no geometry, Miss Miriam's students are unhappy.
Okay, so you have to think about what you finished with. What did we finish with in number 5?
She's an excellent.
No. Look, the students are unhappy. That's what we finished with, right? So that's what we have to start with in number 6. So I'll start with if the students are unhappy. Yes. If the students are unhappy, then what, Crystal?
Then there's no geometry.
Perfect. Then there is no geometry.
So you don't have to use all of them?
Correct. Yeah. You won't have to use all of them. That's correct. Now I want to show you something. Okay, that's going to help you a little bit as well. Do you notice, I want you to look up here. When I wrote Miss Miriam washes the dirty clothes, can you guys see that highlighter up there on the board? That was the second half of my reason over here. Right? When I said that there is ironing to do, that's the second half of my reason. Do you guys see how they change back and forth? Whatever your statement is the second half of your reason. The first part of the reason comes from the statement just above it. Okay, Patrick?
Okay, you're on something like this.
What'd you say, Belinda?
Who's spraying stuff? Spraying it.
Okay. Sorry. Patrick, what's your question?
Go ahead, because it confused everybody else.
Okay. All right, so this is what we're going to be doing in our homework today. Brianna asked a great question. She said, you won't use all of them, and the answer is no, you will not use all of them. Okay? So we have about 15 minutes until break. I'd like you to open up your binder, and you can see that we have 3 proofs that we can start doing in our binders.